Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Take Back Control Tuesday. Now, I can't tell you what the outcome is going to be for each and every one of you, but what I can tell you is for the next hour and 40 minutes, the time we're going to spend together, if you apply what you learn, this will change your financial future. If you're here, that means you're ready for change. And tonight, that's exactly what we're gonna deliver. I've got a special guest for you. His name's Jason Sipple. He is a master of what you're gonna learn. But what are you going to learn? Well, Jason's gonna teach you three things. He's gonna teach you how to take back control of your money by being your own bank. And then he's also gonna teach you how to build wealth through your own debts and expenses. That'll be the second thing you learn. And the third thing you'll learn, hence the cars, you're gonna learn how to get all the money back for every single car that you ever buy, drive, and own. And before you get into it, one last favor, just click that button right there, the subscribe button. It would do me a huge favor. And also, right above is a little bell. Smash that bell so that every time I put new content out, you'll be notified. So I don't want to waste any more time. It's time for Jason to really show you all about the infinite banking concepts. Let's roll.
Take back control.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday?
What if by changing one thing, you would change everything for the better in your financial future for your family? It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Sounds a little bit crazy. But what if shifting that one thing is going to change everything? And so I'm gonna need some participation. I just did this live the other day. But who here, put in the chat, wants more money? Who here wants more control of their money? And who here wants more freedom? I want you to think William Wallace, Braveheart, and just think of him leading the charge and just yelling, freedom! Who here wants that feeling of freedom? That's right. What would that do for your family, for your peers, your employees, your friends, and more importantly, for yourself? So I'm going to let you guys in on a little known fact. The wealthiest families, like the Rockefellers and visionaries like Walt Disney, have been using a strategy called infinite banking for ages to build and preserve their empires. The strategy is simple, it is legal, and it's something that each and every one of you have access to. And it all starts with just changing that one thing. It starts with paying ourselves first. And who here wants to take back that control from the evil empire? And you guys might be asking, Jason, who's the evil empire? Well, it's the banks, it's Wall Street, and it's Uncle Sam, the government. We might live in the greatest country in the world, but still we're groomed to give up control of our money. We're taught to take on all the risk, and it's costing you guys your freedom. I see Lewis, I see Greg, I see all these people, Chris, that want freedom. That's what we all want. I've had thousands of phone calls, and I can tell you that each and every one of us wants the same thing. And it just starts with recycling the money, recapturing the money, and bringing all that interest back to ourselves, back to our family by changing just one thing. And it's simple. It's the infinite banking strategy, and it's through specially engineered whole life. So right there, the cat's out of the bag. You guys already know what this is about. So in this webinar, I'm going to show you step by step what's really happening with your money, how the banks are making a ton of money on the money that you're making, how you can do the same thing, how you can earn, money or interest for every car you buy, drive, or own for the rest of your life, and how you can use your debts and turn them into assets. I'm going to show you real life examples of our actual clients, and I'm going to walk you through how you can build, keep, and create more wealth. But I'm going to challenge you that if you haven't already applied this, just think whatever you don't know that I teach you today, if you keep an open mind, just add the word yet. I don't know this yet. I promise this is a reality that's within your grasp. And if we all do this together, we will shift our financial landscape here in America drastically. So let's dive in. So look at this image. I want you guys to all think that you've got all these 17-year-olds around you. I want you to imagine, put yourself in a place where you see 100 17 and 18-year-old new grad high school graduates that are full of optimism. They're full of hope. And we're in this room, and I ask them, who here is going to be wealthy by the time they retire? Their hands are going to shoot up and they're going to jump out of their seats. They're going to be like, me, I'm going to be a millionaire, a billionaire, the next Elon, the next Mark Zuckerberg, the next Warren Buffett. I'm going to be so successful. And then something happens. Time ticks on. The sun comes up, the sun goes down, and they conform. They're not successful. Only 5 out of those 100 super excited teenagers with the rest of their life in front of them are going to be financially successful, financially secure upon retirement, which is made up, by the way. It's just a made up thing. There was a point like 50 years ago where the retirement age was actually past the life expectancy. That's a little bit weird, right? You guys probably never heard that before. So in this scenario, why is this? How can we live in the greatest country in the world? I live in the greatest state in the greatest country, and we only have 5 people being financially secure upon retirement, only 1 being wealthy out of 100. That is too small of a number. Now, this is not you guys, right? Because look at the statistic. It's shocking. Social Security Administration shows us that only 5 out of 100 people will be financially secure by retirement age. Again, how is that possible? It's possible because we're giving up control of our money. We don't understand what's happening in our money. So if you all, I already know you'll do this because you're here, you're already in the 5%. You're already giving me your most valuable resource today, which is what? Is your focus, your time, and your energy. So as I go through this today, take notes, make notes. Don't just write stuff down. Write what you're going to do to take action once you make that note, right? It's an application that actually changes our life. We have to fall down. We have to learn. How do you think breakdancing was formed? It was by someone falling down and getting back up. I'm like, that was cool. I just did this move. And now they're cool, right? So we're going to talk about how you can build, keep, and create more wealth, guaranteed. And your money will always be worth more tomorrow than it is today when you apply what I am teaching you in this webinar. So keep an open mind. Let's jump in. Let's have some fun. First, this is the biggest problem in America, right? Isn't so much what people don't know, it's what people think they know that just ain't so, which is our ego. On a line, I had this in another presentation I was in a mastermind on the beach in California last week, where a woman who is a thought leader talked about how there's the lower vibrational energy and then there's higher vibrational energy. And in the middle, right under low vibrational, is ego. Ego stops us from learning, from growing, from doing all the things, and it spirals all the way down to shame, which is the lowest energy we can have. On the other side is courage. So again, you guys are courageous. You're here. So what Will Rogers said is a fact. And he said this a long time ago. The problem in America isn't so much what people don't know. It's what people think they know that just ain't so. So again, who am I and why am I here sharing this with you? It started out, this journey for me, in a mastermind, much like the one Steven and our team is at down in Tampa, where I was one of the leaders in the room and our leader was in the front presenting, and he was getting people fired up about their vision, about their future, about what was possible for each and every one of them. And as he's leading, asking people, how much money do you want to make? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to live? What do you have? Who do you know? What's around you? What have you learned? I started crying. I broke down and I can feel it right now. Tears just started pouring down my face. And I don't cry a lot, except for commercials, kids' movies. But no, I was crying and I was lost. I felt like I had failed my family. I had failed them because I wasn't providing for them. I wasn't protecting them. I was away from home. I was in a Holiday Inn in Mahwah, New Jersey, in a conference room. And I knew that I needed help. I knew I needed the courage to ask for help. And so after that event, after I had time to reflect, I went and asked one of my close friends who just happened to be a fiduciary with 40 wealth management offices for help. And he handed me a book that I'm going to share with you on the next page that changed my life forever. It is the reason I am here with you today. And it has transformed my family's life. It is something that I thought was too good to be true. I didn't believe it was true, because if it was, why wouldn't every American practice this? So let's look and see who's written about this concept that you guys might know. One guy, the first guy, he had a rich dad, a poor dad. Some of you guys might know him, right? But have you read this book? Could I get eyes in the chat if you've read this book? If you haven't, go pick it up. Second Chance. There you go. Awesome, Anthony. Second Chance by Kiyosaki. He talks about the whole life insurance strategy that has cash value in this book. And he's actually written with some of our peers. I've seen emails from Robert talking about how he loves this strategy and uses it in his own life. And then we've got the big man, the guy who changed my life and set me on this journey, Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game. Section, I think it's 5.2, he talks about this strategy, this principle. And then the book that changed my life was this book, right? Actually, this very book, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson. And we have my esteemed colleagues and peers, right? We have Chris Naugle, Brent Kessler, who wrote Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, about their journeys with infinite banking and kind of a modern day take on Nelson's book, a great book that we can get that to you guys. And then we have Chris also understood, like, he's a visionary. He understood, okay, now I have all these policies, I have all this cash value, but money not in motion doesn't make money. So he has a private money guide when he started understanding the people that were lending on deals in first lien, because if you ain't first, you're what? You're last. So these are a few of the books. There's more out there that you can read, but I invite all of you to keep your education going. And so let's talk a minute about this intriguing concept. In the chat, who learns quick? Who learns quickly? Who are the fastest learners in most people's homes? That's right. It's our kids. They learn incredibly fast because they're so new and they're so open and excited, like those teenagers were, for growth. And so one of the first freedoms I had as a child was riding a bike. If you guys all remember the first time you rode a bike, not the first time you crashed, but the first time you went sailing forward. And as bikes work the same, right? In any country, you push down the pedals, what happens? The bike goes forward. You turn the handlebars to the right, they go right. You turn the handlebars to the left, they go left. And it's easy, it's fun, it's freedom, right? It's what we all remember. For me, it's one of the first freedoms, and I look for that feeling all the time. And I'm an avid cyclist, but who here, do any of you guys think that you could ride that backwards bicycle that this guy just had this, this idea that I'm going to put this little extra thing on the neck of the bike, and when you turn the bike right, it goes left. When you turn left, it goes right. Go to YouTube, look this up. It's super entertaining, and it shows us about our patterns of thinking. I think I could ride that bike. I would fall down, and you would all probably laugh at me. Hopefully, you'd wait till I got up and made sure I was all right, but you're probably laughing at me. Oh my God, Jason, look at him. He's a mess. His leg's over his head. What happened? But go watch Backwards Bicycle, and it'll show you how when one thing changes, it throws us off. It takes us a while to break our own patterns because they're so ingrained in our neural pathways. And what if money worked exactly like this, like the backwards bicycle? What if everything that you knew was not true, as Will Rogers stated? Just keep an open mind and give yourself permission that if you don't know this, you don't know how to do this yet. And yes, you always, Dana, have to wear a helmet. When I see people not wearing a helmet, I just shake my head. I saw someone not wearing a helmet on the trail at 5 a.m. with no light on their bike either. So a little crazy. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the math and the mindset, the two parts of money. Why aren't more people successful? Again, we live in the greatest country in the world. There's so much opportunity out there. Why aren't more people successful? What are some of the wealth killers? We've got taxes. We've got inflation, which is just printing of more money. when you really understand what inflation is. We have volatility and we have the interest, right? And people make fun of how I say interest because I say the whole thing, but I think that's how you say it. But if not, it's okay. I've been saying it that way for 50 years now, so we're going to keep doing it. And then we have the mindset side of things, right? We have following the status quo. I call those folks the sheeple. Again, not any of you here, just to keep acknowledging you. You're here because you want more. You want freedom. Freedom of time, of relationship, of money, freedom of contribution. And then you have fear. The two fears in life. It's either one of two things, your fear of rejection or fear of failure. And what we're taught, or we're not taught, we're not really taught about money. So a financial philosophy I've been given and I've adopted, if you guys want to adopt this too, please do. There's more to be had from avoiding the losses than picking the winners. Let's build stuff guaranteed. And let's talk about the mysteries of money. This is an interactive part. There's a couple interactive parts in this presentation, but I want you all to answer the questions as I'm asking them. What is the definition of money? What's the definition of money, y'all? That's right. It is nothing more. And we got to agree. Yes, Anthony. Anthony's the man here. Thank you, Anthony. It's nothing more than a means of exchange, right? We give money for cars, cars for money, money for homes, home for money, money for food, food for money. That's it. It's easier than carrying around, sheep and goats and cattle and everything else that we would trade, right? We would trade. And the next question. So what company uses compound interest? You guys might be screaming in your mind, Jason, call me, call me. It's banks, but no, it's not. Banks do pay us interest. We can earn interest in accounts, but the company's not using that. Money must stay in motion. I said it once already, but money in motion will make more money. That's the fact. So we want to keep our money in motion. Are your dollars worth more today or in the future? A hint on this one, think about this. If you had $1 today and we went back 20 years, how many candy bars could you buy? Quite a few, right? Today, you can't even buy one candy bar with $1. So our dollars are worth more today, always, right? So I want you to use your high value dollars today and then earn money compounding over time, which we'll go into. And then taxes, are they going up or down? Taxes, are they going up or down in the future? Now, some of you might say your taxes are going to be lower when you retire, but I'll just say, well, that means you're making less money. Do you really want to have less, kind of be an essentialist or a minimalist upon retirement? Or do you want to do all the cool stuff that you've always dreamed about and have fun and freedom and do the things you want to do? If that's the case, go to usdebtclock.org and just look at where we're at as far as taxes today. $34 trillion in debt. 2 years from now, 44 trillion. That's 10 trillion more with a T. How's the government going to pay for that? Is it going to be from lowering taxes, or it's either raising taxes, which they probably won't do because we'll revolt, or are they going to tax more things, right? They're going to tax more things. And then here's the real question. What do you guys know about your retirement accounts, right? These are your qualified plans. This is where you're all saying, well, Jason, I know the money goes in, it's pre-tax, or they call it tax deferred, which is just a fancy word for postponed. And let me understand this about this. How many of you think you have a partner in your retirement? Not talking about your spouse. I'm talking about in the actual retirement plan, in this business, right? Think about this. Would you want this kind of partner that came in and said, yep, hey, Jason, nice to meet you. You know what? I see you doing really great work. I see you putting the maximum deferred, listen to the wording, compensation into your qualified plan, your 401k, your IRA, all of your other ones, the 403bs. Just think of all the different retirement plans that are offered. And as your partner, I would say, you know what? I'm going to let you rock with this. You just grow that seed. You just grow that seed into a harvest. And I don't want anything today. Just do a good job. Just do a good job. Make sure you're picking good things to invest in. And then I'll see you upon retirement. and I'm going to forget all about them. It's been, 20 plus years. And all of a sudden my partner walks back in and he goes, you know what? I'm going to need 30% because this is to cover my costs, or 40%, or maybe 45%, depending on where we're at in that time period. We're going to find out what our tax liability is. Who wants that partnership? Would you guys run away from that? Anybody? Thinks that sounds crazy? If your money's in a qualified plan, that is the agreement that you've signed up for. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, please understand what's happening. And I understand this might be a lot to digest, but I want you to start seriously thinking about the cash flow and the money in your life and how things work. I want to challenge the traditional way of thinking about money. To truly build generational wealth, you're going to have to challenge these old concepts and just tell yourself, I don't understand all of this yet. Again, the word yet. Remember, we're just changing one thing. So let's go through this simple money multiplier method. And everything I say today, please check, look online, make sure that what I'm telling you actually lines up to what's happening. So what is the money multiplier method? We're going to talk about the machine. We're going to talk about the marathon. I always joke around and say, I won't do a marathon until I've already ridden 112 miles after swimming 2.4 miles. Like, why run that far unless you're going to complete something and get a cool medal and a story about it, right? Some of you might be runners. I run because it's the end of a triathlon, but that's about it. And then we're going to map out the millionaire mystery, right? You guys all said you wanted more money. So let's just map it out step by step. And remember, it takes long-term thinking to get there. This is not a get rich quick scheme. You hear me saying anything like that, please turn it off, leave the room, because this is not for you. This is going to take some discipline, some time. Let's talk about the machine. This machine is the one that's going to build, keep, and create more wealth. And it's nothing more than a dividend paying, whole life, cash rich insurance policy from a mutually owned company. Why a mutually owned company? Because we don't want you paying a share of that dividend to stockholders, to other people that have interest in the company. We want it to be like the Green Bay Packers, where you are the most important person as an owner in the contract. We want you in charge of the contract. Just you, nobody else. You're first in this scenario. So we're not doing anything different than a lot of the biggest entities in our country, which I'm going to go into in the next slide, where we're going to do a little bit more interactive experience. So grab your pens, your paper, your crayons, your markers, the things, and draw a T-chart just like this one. On the top left, you're going to write the word bank or the bank. Top right, you're going to write the policy. Now we're going to go through this and we're going to compare the two. You can put whatever you want on either side, but just look at the comparison and look at which one is going to be a better fit. So under bank and under policy, we have the word liquid. Someone define liquidity for me, or liquid. What do I mean by that? Super simple, but just make sure we're on the same page. Liquid is just your ability to access the money. It's not locked up in financial prison. And now under bank, who here, if anybody has a high yield savings or some kind of money market where they're earning more than 0.07%, 3%, 4, 4.5%, pop it in the chat because I want to be real comparison. Okay. Under policy, there we go. So Anthony, say what it's going to be. What is your high yield savings giving you today? 4.25. Awesome. Thank you, sir. So replace that. 4.25 is the highest one I've seen so far. So replace the 0.07 that conventional banks are giving you with a 4 or 4.25%. Under policy, that's your first of two guarantees. 3.25% guaranteed contractually. Your money will grow at that rate annually for the rest of your whole life. Anthony, Lewis, is that 4 and 4.25 guaranteed? I know the answer, but share with the group, that's watching. Hell no. Hell no. Okay. Nope. Under bank, you have taxable. The growth on those high yield are taxable. At the end of the year, you're going to be taxed on that money. So depending on your tax bracket, it's probably going to bring it down to very similar to what your guarantee is in the policy. Under policy, it's tax advantaged. We put tax-free growth, tax-free loans, tax-free distribution. The proper term, is tax advantaged. In the bank, unstable. Jason, what do you mean by unstable? Think about Silicon Valley Bank. Back in the beginning of 2023, what happened? The bank went belly up, but it was bailed out because why? Most likely because Governor Newsom from California and a lot of his other, high net worth people had their money in that bank. But that bank toppled, additional banks followed suit, and then later in the year, banks in New York. Earlier in 2024, we had banks failing as well. Just had a bank that was part of one of the kids platforms, one of the kids fintech platforms I was part of. They had the bank working with it, and then the fintech stopped working. I was like, why? The bank went bankrupt. So it happens all the time because of their system. It's a systematic problem, fractional lending, fractional banks. And so under policy, you have stable. So we know right now it seems kind of smooth because we're coming to election, but who knows what's going to happen next? Not trying to worry anybody, but think about the stability within a policy. That 3.25%, that company, that mutually owned A+ rated company, has been profitable every year their doors have been open, which is 148 years. They opened their doors in 1877. Think about that, everyone. That means before the IRS, before the Fed in 1913, the Great Depression, you have coming off the gold standard in 71, you have, the .com, you have the 2008 housing crisis, you have the pandemic, anything you can think of, they've been profitable every single year. In the bank, the money's unprotected against liens and judgment. Someone gets hurt, say you're a real estate person or a business owner, they get hurt on your property. A good attorney can come and access that money. Under policy, the money's protected against liens and judgment in all 50 states. So it is protected more than it is in the banks. And then finally, so those are your living benefits. You have access to the money, it's growing tax-free, it's growing guaranteed, it's in a stable environment, and it's protected. Does that sound like a pretty good vehicle to you guys? A pretty good thing to have in your stable financial tool belt? And then under bank, you have no death benefit. Money in, money out, there's nothing extra. There's no cherry on top, no second guarantee like you have in a policy. In the policy, you have a guaranteed estate for your family or for the things you love. If you don't love anybody or anything, again, we are not your people. But you guys, I know that's not you, but I'm just saying it because people will watch this on replay and they'll come and tell me, Jason, I don't care about the death benefit at all. I don't have family. I don't have anything I care about. Well, probably not the person we're going to work with. You got to know who your customers are and who they're not, right? And so when you look at this, you compare the chart, you can hide the names like in a Coke test, right? Coke versus Pepsi, taste test, look at the chart. Where do you think the banks are keeping their money? Where are the banks keeping their money? Anthony already knows the answer. Anthony, you're on this, man. Banks are keeping their money in bank-owned life insurance. Google that, BOLI. Over 202 billion. They've quadrupled the amount of whole life, cash-rich whole life they own since 2013. That's why there's so many, VPs and leaders in banking because they have to have insurable interest. So when you see this, just logically, where should you be storing your excess capital, the money that you're saving? Remember, we're just changing one thing, folks. Where does your savings, where does your surplus money, lazy money go first? So how does your money flow? I'm going to do this one a little quicker. So we're going to imagine now, like I went from Jason talking about money, now I'm Jason the banker. And for a lot of us, this took me 19 times to get, but I'm going to go pretty fast through this. So imagine that this woman, Sally Saver, has some discipline and she saved her money for 3 years. or 4 years, she has saved $25,000 in my bank, in Jason's bank, and I'm paying Sally 4%. That's pretty good. We saw that's almost as good as the 4.25% for the high yield, right? So 4%, that's pretty good. And it's been growing at that rate for years now. And Sally comes in and she tells me all excited, Jason, I got this car. I really want to get it. It's so cool. It's got like this great interior and leather, and you should hear the sound system. It's awesome. And I go, that, congratulations. Congratulations on your discipline. Congratulations on being able to see your vision and go after it and have patience, right? Not need it immediately, Sally. But how about this? How about you just keep your money here and I'll give you a 6% loan for $25,000 for 5 years or 60 months. And at the end of that 5 years, you'll have made money. Am I telling you the truth? Am I telling you the truth? Is Jason an honest banker? I'm paying you 4, you're paying me 6. Well, in my math, when I saw this the first 19 times, 4 minus 6 is what? 4 minus 6 is -2. Jason, no way. That doesn't work. Well, I just want you guys to start thinking about what's actually happening in a cash flow scenario. So 483.32 would be Sally's payment back on the loan at 6% for a future value, which you guys can grab future value calculators and do this same exercise, $28,999. The future value of this compounding money here on the 4% side, $30,525. So is 30,000 more than 28,000 or $29,000? In Florida, that's how we do math, right? I'm saying yes. I'm saying we've made money. I was an honest banker. Now let's look how the banks are spending your money. When you put your money, your hard-earned money, what you're already trading your most valuable resource for, in most cases, your time, your energy, right? Your influence, your abilities, your unique ability, you've saved $100,000. You've put that money into my bank because I'm giving you the best rates you could have at 4%. When you deposit said $100,000 into the bank, is that a liability or an asset to the bank? Who thinks it's an asset? Give me an eye. It's $100,000 deposited. Anthony, you're too good. I love that you keep participating, so please do. But everybody else, whatever you thought, just know that as soon as you deposit money in the bank, that's a liability. Remember the laws of motion, God's laws, things in motion have to keep in motion. Like we're not going to eat fish from a stale pond, right? We're not going to go fishing in a stale pond. And said, exactly. So not in motion doesn't do anything. So what do the banks do? Well, they're going to start lending it out. They're going to lend it to a new home builder or buyer, right? 7%. And now that money, where does it go? We have to deposit it somewhere. It comes back to the bank. 7% goes out. We're making 4 on our money, and they lend it out again. Now they're lended out to someone that needs a car. And that money turns around and goes full circle back into the bank. Just watch, every time it circles out, need a home remodel. Our wife, our spouse, we want a pool, we want a new kitchen, a new bathroom, home remodel. And every time, watch, it's going because of the terms, right? Home 30 years, car 5 or 6 years, home remodel, a little bit more risk perhaps, 9%. Comes back in from the contractor. And now debt. They love when we have debt. Let's debt consolidate. We just did a first position HELOC. I wanted to bring it today, but I forgot to show you guys how many things I have offered for lines of credit and things and all this crazy stuff that's offered by the banks. Like consolidate your debt. It'll be 0% for this long. Come on. You guys aren't falling for that still, right? So 12% on that money for your credit cards, for debt consolidations, for all the things. Right? Who's in control of all of this? It's the banks, right? Now let's look at the spread. It's all about the spread that they're making on our money. Who put the money there? We did. You did. So let's look at what the spread is. 7 minus 4 is what? Again, we'll keep everything super simple in this. There's nothing complicated. 8 minus 4, 4, right? So let's add that up. 9 minus 4 is what? 5%. You guys following so far? 12 minus 4, 8. So if you add all these together, what do we get? We get 13 plus 7 is 20. Now 20 minus 4 is what? 16%? Have we made 16% more than the banks have, or has the bank made 16% more than we have at 4%? No, it's actually 5 times, right? 4% times 5 is 20%. So the banks had made 500% in that example. Did you guys know? And tell me how this makes you feel. Just put your immediate feeling if you didn't already know this. Did you know that the banks make at least 400% annually to 1,300% annually on every dollar you leave in the banking system? Did you guys know that? Go check that out in Bauer Financial. That blew my mind. Look up any bank, the big banks, your local credit union. All conventional banks are making that much money on the money you put there. Wouldn't you guys like to know how you can do the same thing by taking back control of your money, by changing how many things? 5, 6, 7? No, one thing.
Your real estate business lives and dies by the network and the connections that you make. I mean, after all, your network, well, it's your net worth. That's what you always heard, right? If that's an area where you desire improvement, well, Private Money Club, it's for you. PMC saves you precious time and money by bringing the real estate world, well, right to you, right in the palm of your hand. So get in on the action, like so many others have, by going to privatemoneyclub.com and sign up.
Now let's look at an annual pattern of spending. This is the average American. Again, not all of you. You guys aren't average because you're here. So we spend, and now this number is not accurate, I can tell you, because I've had 3,000 phone calls. We've got people making, 40, 50,000 a year with a $1,200 to $1,500, $1,800 car payments. I hope they live in their cars because that's more than a lot of people's mortgages, right? But average American pattern of spending, rein that in, Jason, 20 cents of every dollar. Housing, 30 cents of every dollar. Everything else, our fun, our entertainment, our kids' clothing, food, all of that stuff, 40 cents of every dollar. So that's 90. So we're going to be super generous here and say that America is saving 10 cents of every dollar. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, since we came out of the pandemic, we were getting pretty close to saving 10 cents of every dollar. But what are we currently saving? Anybody have any guesses? How much is the average household saving today? And remember, the first law of wealth is what? Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Today, the average American is saving 3 cents of every dollar. Hi, you were pretty close, man. But 3 cents of every dollar. So now let's look at how much of this is interest, right? And look at our savings. So we got 10% on the right side. In automobiles, 5 cents of every dollar. It's the volume of interest, not necessarily the rate, even though they are quite high today. But imagine taking back control of this interest and bringing it back to our family. This is what I'm teaching you right now. So there's no tricks here. We're just saying we're going to wear 2 hats. We are going to be the lender and the borrower, the bank, right? The lender, the banker, and the borrower, the person purchasing the thing at the same time. You guys already wear a lot of hats. So look what happens. We shift 5 cents over. That slice of the savings increases. We do this again, housing. Now, how many of you here have been in your home, if you own a home, for less than, greetings, Jose. So how many of you have been here or lived in your home for less than 7 years, 5 to 7 years? In that case, don't go look at your statement today. Maybe wait a few days, maybe have a drink first, or do something else that relaxes you. Go someplace, a happy place. But you pay about 70 to 80 cents of every dollar towards the interest, not the principal. So let's shift that 25 cents of every dollar over. And why? Why does that happen? Because the banks know that we move every 5 to 7 years. They know our patterns of spending. All you have to do is supply the solution and they continue to make money on us. Now everything else, another 5%. So if we add these numbers up, that's 35 plus 10, that's 45 cents of every dollar. Who here wants a 35% raise annually? Anybody? Are you guys seeing the power in this? This is per dollar. Multiply that to how many dollars you make. And it'll tell you how much you can actually earn by doing what? By changing one thing. Okay. So now who here wants to know how to get them all the money back? Remember, I promised you at the beginning what we were going to cover. We went through how does money work? How do banks make money? Right? What is money? How does money work? How do banks make money? How does the average American spend their money? Let's look at, and I like trucks better than cars. So I know Chris has got his BYOP. Check out his new channel there. Buy your own Porsche, I think it is. For every truck that you're going to buy, drive, or own, you can be a Porsche. It can be whatever you want. This is where I'm going to peel back what it looks like inside the growth of the specially engineered whole life and what we actually do. So the first thing I'm going to offer you, when you guys get paid, how does that feel? Money goes into your bank, you open up your app and you see that you got paid. You do a little like happy jig, a little high five to your spouse, a little, yes, I can pay my bills. I can take my baby out. Let's go, right? We get excited. So I'm going to offer you, if money's going into your bank, is it a premium like your car insurance or your home insurance or your health insurance? Or is it a deposit? Remember, our words make our world. So I'm going to offer that it is a premium deposit. No trickery. It's just money that's going in that you can access, that's growing tax-free, that you can use for the rest of your life, okay? We're not going to look at age here. So in this example, the person's young, but it doesn't matter if you're, I'm 50. I talk to 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds all the time. There is a point where it gets challenging because of design, but typically, if you're in the first, second, third, or even the beginning of the fourth quarter of life, age doesn't matter. And we don't talk about the death benefit, right? It's kind of like Bruno. We don't talk about him either. So that's for all you that have kids, right? And now that I've got that song in my head, I'll probably never stop hearing it again. So we're making deposits, premium deposits into our account. Let's look under this hood. After 3 years, we have enough cash value. Remember Sally Saver with discipline, not regret. She's put enough to take a $25,000 loan out. Now, she's an honest banker. She loves her family more than the banking system. So what does she do? She sets up a plan to pay herself back $500 a month times 12 is how much? $6,000. You guys following this? Pretty simple math. Over the next 5 years that she owns this car, she's paid the car back. And let's look how much deposits and payments back to herself, being an honest banker, she's made. $70,000 in total premium deposits over 7 years, $30,000 in loan repayments, a $25,000 loan. So she's made $5,000 in interest, right? You guys checking that out? And she has $67,881 of cash value still in that policy that's never been interrupted, that is still compounding, which means that over those 7 years, 5 years of car ownership, Sally has recaptured 91 cents of every dollar. Anyone here that doesn't practice infinite banking, that has ever had the vehicle and 91 cents of every dollar or every dollar back for every car they bought, drive, and own, please send me an email at jason@themoneymultiplier.com and I'll make sure we send you some cool swag or something. Send me your shirt size and we'll do something cool. If you haven't, then keep paying attention. This gets better. Now I'm going to show something completely crazy that I will never have any of you do. What happens if we stop making premium deposits after year 7? Which I wouldn't have all of you do, but let's say we stop doing that. Our car got a little run down. Our kids threw up in it. They dropped French fries that we can't find. There's spills. There's gross stuff in our car. It happens. If you got kids, it happens. Okay. And now the next car purchase, another $25,000. We're going with the same model, same make. Kids are going to beat it up anyhow. And look what happens. We're just going to pay that back. So now we pay nothing into our premium deposits. We paid ourselves back $30,000. We've taken a $25,000 loan out. It's a difference of $5,000. But look, between year 7 and year 12, the policy has grown $23,592. So you've only put in basically $5,000. So look at those And Steve, I'll get to hold the questions to the end and write them down. I will get to as many questions as I can. But look, every time, because of the uninterrupted compounding, every time you buy a car, as long as you're not saying every time you buy a car, you're buying a bigger, better, more expensive car, you'll still get the money back and the cash will still grow. But look, if you just use this simple example, you're making $23,592 in that second car that you have purchased by paying the interest back to yourself. So there's only 3 rules. Well, I'm going to offer a rule before rule 1. Think long term. Remember, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. So the 3 rules. 1, pay yourself first as if your life depended on it. I'm going to give you guys a quick sermon here. Think of the first 2 commandments. What's 1? What's 1? Love God with our hearts, our minds, and our soul. Number 2 is love thy neighbor like thyself. So numerically, 1, 2, 3. Y'all, we have a problem in America because we're doing 1, 3, 2. We have to shift that and pay ourselves first. So we have to love ourselves a little bit more. Then we have to pay ourselves with interest. So that is going to be a big thing. A lot of you are gonna be like, hey, now I'm taking a loan out for myself. I don't have to pay myself back the way I would pay back a bank. Well, why would you treat your family worse than you're willing to treat the bank? And then recycle and recapture all the money. So if this works for a car, what else could this work for? If you're an investor, if you're a business owner, anything that you can dream of. You just got to keep rethinking your thinking. So this is an actual chiropractor like Brent used to be, who started the money multiplier. And once we know the game, like Albert Einstein said, once we know the rules of the game, we want to play better than anyone else. So this doctor, these are his debts. How many of you have debts that look similar to this? Can I get some eyes in the chat as I get a sip of water here? No eyes. Nobody owns a second home, a boat, a car, private loans, credit cards. I don't know about that. Nope. Velocity banking concept. Okay. So his total debt when he met us was $478,000, about half of what Brent had, because Brent owned a plane and some other things. So a jet ski, add that in there. Total monthly payments, $5,777. $69,000 a year in principal and interest going out to the other banks. It would take him, as is, with that many payments left, 19 years to pay off all of his debt. This doctor was already saving surplus money of $25,000 a year. So when we saw the problem, remember, you guys got to bring the problems so we can diagnose them and help you. That's what we do as mentors. We're guides. We are not financial advisors. We're not attorneys. We're not any of those things. We are simply guides that practice what we teach. So this doctor came to us and we're like, hey, man, if you did this, if you just change where your extra money, your savings went first, 25,000, if we put that in a policy, watch what happens. Deposits 25 grand. First year has approximately $14,863, right? Now, what's he going to do with that? He's going to knock out some of his debts, the Discover card, the Lowe's card. Now he's going to be an honest banker and he's going to pay that back. $450 a month, right? Roughly, what's that? A little over $5,000 a year, I think. So year 2, he's going to make another premium deposit. Look, his cash value moved up a little bit. Payments back to himself, a little over $5,000. Add them together, 21 grand. He's going to knock out Nordstrom, Wells Fargo, and the private loan. So look how much right there, the average interest that he's earning back to himself. And he pays that back to himself. That's another $1,900. That's $1,900 now a month. Almost $24,000 a year. Year 3. And remember, he's just changed one thing. Nothing else has changed. He's still making the same payments. He's just making them back into his system. He puts in 25. Look what happens. He's got 25,000 and change available. So now every dollar he's put in, it's become efficient and he can take more out. He's made 23,000 payments back to himself. He's knocked out the Beamer and the boat. $3,677 recaptured. And how much do we put in? When I did this on Saturday, I only had one person get this right. So let's see how you guys do. 75,000. What are the loans? 55,000. 75 minus 55 is how much? How much does he have left? Steve knows the answer. Is it 20,000? Nope. Made it red. Give it away. It's actually $75,000. This money that goes in the cash value is uninterrupted compounding interest, most likely not guaranteed, but most likely earning you a dividend. Year 4, Doc makes his premium deposit, cash value over 26 grand, payments back to himself 44,000. Can't pay off the condo, but almost. So no cash flow change here. Another year of just paying the condo at 879, house 1221. Another deposit, year 5, 27 grand. At this point, he pays off the condo and a little bit of the home. Now he has $4,500 a month. Almost completely debt free. We're only 5 years in. Remember how many years it was before? And then finally, year 6. At this point, I always like to ask, can we fit, this is a 12-ounce mug. Look, if you didn't know, it says world's greatest dad. I have a mug to prove it, right? So can you fit 16 ounces into this 12-ounce mug? Anybody? Again, if you believe you can, then don't call me. I can't work with that. I love creativity, but once this overflows, it's time to do what? Get a bigger container. We have to get a bigger container. So what's the doc do? He starts another policy. He's got his cash value in policy 2. He deposits 10,000 in his first policy, and he has 13,000, and he's made payments back of 54,000. This slide's a little confusing, but if you guys are following that, it's awesome. So total cash, just add those 3 numbers together, 13,000, 14,000, 54, 82 grand. Is that enough to pay off the house? That's right. And yes, Alexandra, we'll have the recording of this. It'll be up on the YouTube channel, so check that out, but thank you for being here. So it took the doc 6 years total to pay off 19 years worth of debt doing it the conventional way. We will actually mathematically, as you're going through the process, once you do your paramedical, we have a team now. We built a team this year because we listened to what you guys want, and you want to see walls and numbers showing you when you're going to pay off your debts based on what is designed by the money mentor and you during your call. So now, whether it's the avalanche, the snowball, highest interest first, we'll mathematically run that. We'll layer on top your policy, your specially engineered policy with your premium deposits, and we'll show you how long it takes to not only become debt-free, but to pay yourself back. And that way you have an idea of how long is it going to be till you start using that money to what? Keep it in motion and make more money. Is that not awesome? Are you guys a little bit excited about that? And then once your policy is in force, this is something I talk about on every call, is knowledge power. Knowledge can be powerful, but only if what? If applied. So once your policy is in force, you have an implementation specialist that's there to meet you, to show you how to read your portal on the insurance companies, the mutually owned companies' website. They show you where to find the interest. They show you how to take out loans, how to pay them back, how to make changes. They're your guide to make sure that you know how to do the day-to-day stuff, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to apply the knowledge that is given to you, okay? And once you have the system, because we're teaching a process, that is where it gets really powerful. So how do you guys eat an elephant? You know, I never get tired of this question, because it's a question of curiosity. You eat it one bite at a time. You better get that thing on ice too, because you can have your elephant stew, your steaks, your burgers, your salads. And did the man or woman at the top of the mountain fall there? No, it takes a long time. I want you all to just celebrate the progress you made today. What have you learned today? Because when you make progress, celebrate it. Wire that feeling into your nervous system. That is how we grow. And growing is what? It's a little bit uncomfortable. Great, we got CP who's a cannibal. That's great. I didn't read that, not live like this is. Is it possible for no man or to owe no man or no woman nothing? Yes, I've already showed you how you can pay off everything. So if it's possible for debts, if it's possible expenses for buying your cars, what else can you do with it? Vacations, kids' college funds, kids' business building, weddings, taxes, tuition, whatever you can think of, as long as you're making a spread, you can use this system for that. We're only limited by our imagination. So it gets better. I know it doesn't seem possible, but it actually does get better here. Where, remember, we're being honest bankers. This doc was being an honest banker. He pays himself back. And if he just paid back the payments back to the home, He's earned another $500,000, basically, $500,000. So he's halfway to the millionaire. But wait, he's earned money on that money he's paying back too. Now look at it. So $750,000. I told you we were going to map out the millionaire mystery. Just from his debts and expenses and changing that one thing, he's done this over a period of his lifetime, right? It's not instant. It is a complete act of discipline, focus, and having a strategy. So now that everyone knows this, should you do it? You know, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, Morgan Stanleys, Barclays, they all understood this. They understand how to keep money in their families. So we all need to break the bonds of financial slavery now that you know this. If you're not, you're stealing money from your family. It sounds harsh, but it's actually the truth. As Warren said, or maybe he didn't say this, but I like to imagine he did, if poor people would just do what rich people do, they wouldn't be poor anymore. And only one of two things are going to happen in our lifetime. I can guarantee that 98% of us here are going to die. Wait, no, make that 100%. We're either going to live or we're going to die. We're going to shuffle off, graduate, whatever your preferred word is. So are we better with or without this? If we live, we're better with it. If we die, we're better with it. So the movement. I want to thank all of you again for your most valuable resource, lending it to me, your time, your energy, your focus. Again, you're doing what 95% of people will never do. And a decision is here for you today. Are you going to take radical ownership of your money? Are you going to take action? Here's reality. Some of you might not, and it's okay. Still love you. I really do. Start thinking, learning, educating yourself. There's no penalty for not taking action. Brent took 2 years to start this. Others I know, my mentor, took 2 years. Others take 4 or 5 years. Myself, it took me about 18 months to implement, but I started immediately. Started immediately changing this to get myself to the point where I could do it. So now that you have all of the information that you need to change your family's financial future for the better, you can schedule a call with me. I posted it above. I'll post it here again. Some of the questions I get are, Jason, how long does the application process take? If you guys have additional questions, I can answer them. Someone asked about application process takes typically 4 to 6 weeks, but we've seen with some accelerated underwriting, they can go much faster. It just kind of depends on what we're applying for, your age, some of the other variables, your health. So it can go really fast. And that's awesome, Louis, that you've started already. So thank you for being here and continue learning. I promise you, I was 2.5 years into this and my thinking has changed. I'm now 4 years into this and my thinking has changed again. I hope it'll continue changing. And Wade, I wish for UK residents, we have a video, Chris has a video showing how folks who don't live in Canada or North America can practice this, but it won't be with whole life. But just the appointment or the practice of moving your money a certain way. So you can watch that video, Wade. Someone else asked about the fees, the costs, the hidden things. There aren't any, right? We give up. Chris has a video how he lost $534,000 practicing IBC. And really what it says, I'll save you guys 25 minutes, but really what it says is that we give up 60 to 70+% with every design we do. And why would we do that? Because we have to help you reach your goals before we reach our goals. Every time you're successful, 91% of you come back and do additional policies within a year, which means then not only are you more successful, I start becoming more successful because it's about the volume that we do. And we're paid directly by the insurance company. So unless you want to mail me money, you will never exchange money with anybody, any money multiplier, teammate of mine or myself. So those are how the process works. You guys are awesome. You guys are super interactive, which makes it a lot of fun. I wish I could hear you all, see you all, be with you all, but I'm really, really grateful. Be blessed. Until next time, I'll see you in a couple weeks, I believe. I'll be back doing this again. Next week, you get another one of my awesome teammates. Let's see, we get one more question. How much does it cost to fund? So again, listen to your language. It's a great question, but listen to your language. How much does it cost to fund? Is it a cost? No, it's a premium deposit. Are you funding something based on your needs? So it depends is the right answer. It depends on what we're trying to solve. Every question, every conversation I'm having starts with what is your big vision? What is the problem we're solving now? And how do we make progress to reach that over a number of years? That is how every call with me will go. So I appreciate the answer. 10 times age. If you're have no debts, if you're new to saving, then maybe that is the answer. It's just whatever makes sense for you, that's going to make sense for your financial goals or the problem or opportunity in front of you. So again, be blessed. I'm going to jump. I'll see you guys all next time.